Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Genius with Kyuubi Powers, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. It took 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes. As soon as the dome closed, a muffled scream was heard. Gaara used his third eye jutsu to look inside but deactivated after 2 seconds of witnessing what the Biju was doing. 3 minutes was all it took. The chain that had been sticking out of the dome faded and Naruto felt his tenant return. Listen Q, I don't care if he was an enemy, you keep those memories to yourself. Understood. Are you sure you don't want to see how I spared his fingers off before going for his? No. Party pooper. Naruto turned to his friend, Gaara, whatever you do not open that dome. Why not? Gaara asked, unknowingly letting the barrier drop a little. A Junin tossed his cookies over the side of the arena. Hiashi quickly covered Hanabi's eyes. Hanabi got her sister's eyes while Hinata covered her father's. Gaara. Waro crap. Gaara quickly recovered the gore that Q had left behind. Finally, Naruto turned and said, this proves 2 very important things. Kyuubi could have done a lot worse the day he attacked, and you never, ever, mess with a Biju's wife. Sasuke, along with his sensei, suddenly appeared at the arena, to find everyone in a stupor. They seemed to be traumatized by something. Finally, after his appearance was ignored for 3 minutes, he screamed at the top of his lungs, what happened that was so amazing? No one said anything, and kept ignoring him. This only served to make him angry. Finally Shino, sensing he should calm the enraged prodigy before he did something rash. Naruto revealed himself to be the son of the 4th Hokage, and a genius and stopped an invasion against Konoha. Sasuke looked at Shino like he had lost his mind. Kakashi smiled behind his mask and thought, I knew it. That's preposterous. Have you even met Naruto? He's a barker. A dobe. He beat the snake Sanin Orochimaru, and he's been holding the Kyuubi since he attacked. Also, apparently Kyuubi was forced to attack by an ancestor of yours. And so everyone just believes the dobe. He had the word of the Hokage to back him up. If you want to question anyone, question him. Then Kakashi said something Sasuke really didn't want to hear, it's about time Naruto showed his true colors. What? You were in on this too? The 4th was my sensei, he trusted me with some of his secrets, not all mind you, but his son was one of those secrets. So, you knew he had more power than a Sanin and you didn't tell me. He's not that powerful, and of course I knew. Did you really think I would let you go on AC rank when you've only been a genin for less than a single year? Now Sasuke was absolutely furious, Kakashi had no faith in him at all, only in Naruto. So you didn't believe in me at all? Just Naruto? Yes. Kakashi said, don't feel too bad, Sasuke. Naruto has been training for most of his life and was a natural at jutsus. It's expected for him to be stronger than most Junin. Oh, you better get down there, they are calling you. Naruto was sneaking again, this time it was around the Hokage's office, he was waiting for the old man to be in there alone, well, almost alone. Night had fallen an hour ago and Sarutobi was keeping his desk from being invaded by the hordes of paperwork, suddenly flanked by some mission fulfillment papers. Then heard a small voice, evening, Ajisen, long time no see. Would you mind if you can give us a minute alone? Of course, Sarutobi smiled, he snapped his fingers and an Anbu member appeared. Please take your men with you until I tell you to return. The Anbu nodded and disappeared. Now how can I help you, Naruto? Oh, and congratulations on making Chunin. Thank you, Sandaime-sama. Naruto said as he sped back into view. I've come to request a favor. Sakura walked to the bridge, she wasn't exactly as shocked as she was yesterday, but all the same. Naruto was amazing. That pretty much summed up her thoughts for the day. Sasuke sat on the rail, waiting for the team to assemble. Where's Naruto? Asked Sakura. Don't talk about that dobe to me again. Or, what's the matter? A little sour are we? Said a voice almost as light as the wind, when suddenly Naruto sped into view. Sasuke glared, and Sakura was again shocked. Okay, let me get to the chase, I'm going on a mission for about 4 years, so this is a goodbye. Sakura, truth be told, I never liked you that way, it was part of the Dobe act. Sasuke, truth be told, I did hate you, but I see potential in you, just need work more. Say goodbye to sensei for me. You can say to me yourself. Kakashi said behind them. Everyone stared at him, the impossible just happened, Kakashi was on time. Apocalypse. He's on time. Funny. You didn't actually think you could get away with it, did you? Well, I tried, Naruto said with huge smile on his face. Hey, when you get back, I want to fight with the real Naruto. I hold you to that. Oh, and Kyuubi says he's sorry that Yondaime had to resort to that jutsu. All is forgiven, as long as I get to beat him in our fight. Naruto smiled, sure, I'll see what I can do. Don't you dare. Well, I'll see you guys in 4 years. Bye. Then he suddenly sped from view. Team 8 met in the usual spot, under a large tree. Kurenai, feeling like she needed to be the responsible sensei, was there 30 minutes early. Shino arrived 5 till with Kiba in tow. Hinata arrived at 3 till. Kurenai was about to brief the team about the next mission when an Anbu member appeared. Miss Hyuga is requested at the Hokage's office. Kurenai nodded and told Hinata that she was dismissed. When Hinata arrived, she found the Hokage, her father, and her crush. Hello, Hinata, the Hokage said, please sit. She did. I'm just going to cut to the chase. You are going on 4-year training TS, your father has already agreed, you have 2 hours to pack and say goodbye to your team and friends. Your teammates are working on a fence and the other teams are having the day off. Any questions? Hinata looked at the Hokage, looked at her father, then looked at her crush, and one question popped into her mind. Why is NN Naruto-kun here? That's the best part, Naruto said, a smile playing on his face. You're going to need a sensei, Sarutobi said. Naruto and Hiashi smiled, while Hinata's brain began to put 2 and 2 together. Naruto will be my sensei. Yes, do you have anything against being with Naruto for 4 years, alone? Sarutobi asked. Hinata blushed. Because I can find someone else. No, Naruto-kun is fine. Okay, your 2 hours began as soon as you leave this room. She nodded, and turned to leave. Oh, and there is one more thing, since birth you have been engaged to Naruto, do you accept this? Before she hit the ground, the word, yes, had left her lips. Hinata ran down her list of things to do, she said goodbye to all of the girls. She had packed 9 days worth of clothes, she planned to wash her clothes every week. She had her toothbrush, floss, and 6 extra tubes of toothpaste. She had a crank flashlight, and several other miscellaneous items. She also had a bag of cinnamon rolls, she would probably go without them for the whole time, so she had to keep a small stash for herself. She was waiting for Naruto to arrive. She was at the village gate, just waiting. She twiddled her fingers, waiting. Naruto then sped into view. Are you ready to go, Hina-chan? She blushed and nodded, excellent. Follow me. Naruto then headed toward the training grounds. After 30 minutes of walking, they came upon training ground 44, the Forest of Death. Hinata looked over at her crush, as if asking, what are we doing here? Naruto just smiled and walked up to the closest gate. Yo, crazy chick, we're here. As if on cue, Anko, said crazy chick appeared, don't you yell at me, Gaki. Why not? I think king someone's lifelong enemy earns me bragging rights. Then brag, but don't yell it out to the world. Anko yelled. Naruto smiled then backed down, fine, just show us our new home. Anko mumbled something about annoying brat kids and their annoying brat fiancés, but led them into the forest. She led them deep into the forest, when suddenly they came upon a clearing. The clearing was large and it had a giant stump in the middle of it. Anko handed them a couple of tents and told them they would be living here. Don't take advantage of her too soon, Gaki. Anko said before disappearing. Hinata was blushing crazily. Naruto ignored it. He looked down at the tent in his hand and threw it away. He went through a series of hand signs, and mumbled something. A red chain began to form in the air next to him. As soon as it was 4 feet long, Kyuubi started to fade into view. Without saying a word they went to the stump, and taking out his sword, Naruto began to carve a door in the wood. Kyuubi also formed a sword out of chakra and also began to work on the stump. After 30 minutes, Naruto came back out, Kyuubi in tow. Naruto grabbed his bag and disappeared back into the stump, and then he told Hinata to come in. She followed and found the inside of the stump to be a 5-room apartment-like house. There were 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a dining room out of living room, and a makeshift bathroom. Sorry, the bathroom isn't that great, but it's hard to install indoor plumbing in a tree stump. Hinata watched in awe as Naruto began pulling out a gas stove, a refrigerator, a bookshelf, and a generator out of a single scroll. Luckily, there is a small underground river underneath the toilet, that'll keep it from stinking. How did you do all of this? She asked. It's the sword he has, another gift from his parents, Kyuubi said, carrying a box of clothes into one of the bedrooms. Apparently, my mother was from a hidden village called Whirlpool, and the village was famous for making weapons. This one in particular, Naruto pointed to the sword at his side, is called the Fox Blade. It has several little abilities which are very cool. One of them allows me to convert my chakra into any element I could possibly think of. This gives me the ability to have an affinity for any element. So, to answer your question, I changed my affinity to grass and this helped me carve the wood. I also used some wind and fire to help out also. The second ability is that it allows my opponents to become very unlucky, and allows me to become lucky instead. In fact, it's probably because of this sword that Orochimaru is S. Does that help in any way? Hinata nodded. Good. Now get your room unpacked, your training begins shortly. Hanabi Hyuga stood with her team, in line to get their scroll. They had passed the first test and were about ready to begin the second test of the Chunin exams, the Forest of Death. Hanabi remembered what her sister had told her about the forest, the giant tigers, the forest leeches, and the poisonous plants. Hanabi mentally slapped herself for not bringing the notes she had written down. Oh, well, the past is the past. Finally, her team, Team 23, was given their scroll, a heaven scroll. She then walked over to the second gate. At this gate was Team 22, or better known as Team Konohamaru. Hey Hanabi, Konohamaru said. Hello, Konohamaru, Mogi, Udon. How are things going? Hanabi asked. Konohamaru, seeing as how Naruto left, felt he needed a replacement, and was now wearing a bright orange t-shirt, with black pants. Udon wore standard issue shinobi black pants, shirt, and fingerless gloves. Mogi was stunning. She had truly lived up to her claim of being the prettiest girl in the class. Her hair ran down her back like a waterfall, her eyes were burning with a determination that could blind someone if let loose. Her clothes were humble but attractive in the most beautiful way known to man. Her beauty was indescribable, but it was her strength was beyond words. Things are okay, I guess. Suddenly a voice came over the speakers. All right, Gakis. You know what it's going to take, you know about most of the threats, but there is one more you guys need to know, the 3 fears of the forest. Do not cross them. 4 years ago I gave them 2 of each scroll, they still have them. The last team that faced them came back with only 1 survivor, and whether or not he survived is debatable. If you see any of them, do not challenge them, they will leave you alone otherwise. You may begin. Everyone jumped into the forest, each going a separate way, except for 2 teams, Teams 23 and 22. Konohamaru had told his team to follow them. He had an idea. At nightfall, Team 23 made a small camp. They would attack tomorrow, when most of the hot-headed ones were tired from the first day of rushing. Then Team Konohamaru appeared. Team 22, we have an offer. Hanabi was either shocked out of reason or her small crush had led her to follow him wherever he went, no matter how stupid it was. They were actually going after the 3 fears of the forest. Just how stupid was Konohamaru? And yet here she was, following him. What does that say about her? She sighed. Hey Hanabi, Konohamaru asked, breaking her out of her mental monologue. What do your eyes see? Hanabi activated her Byakugan. She didn't see much. She did see a woman. She quickly looked her over, a drop-esque gorgeous kimono, rather dark blue, almost black hair. All she could see was her back. I see a woman, she has a basket in her hand, and she is walking toward a large tree stump. Alright, we'll ask her about the 3 fears, Konohamaru said. They jumped onward to the clearing where the woman stood. Konohamaru stood up and asked, Excuse me, miss, we are looking for the three fears. Could you tell us where they are? Then the sweetest voice they had ever imagined responded, what are two genin teams doing looking for them? She asked, her back still turned. Well, we heard from the crazy lady that they had two of each scroll, so I thought that if we worked together we could beat them one at a time, so then we could get back to tower, because well, I like that team and they are good friends of mine. So, would you stand by your friends even though you may s? Yes, Konohamaru said, slightly unsure of himself. But what does that have to do with anything? The three fears find those characteristics valuable among all else. In fact, because of such characteristics, they may let you live. The woman said. Finally, one of Hanabi team members, a boy named Shinjid, asked, and how do you know so much about them? Because, the woman said simply. I'm one of them. Everyone froze. Suddenly a blonde man appeared. He had a sword at his side and was wearing a Yondaime-style coat. Underneath that he wore a white shirt with a red spiral design and black pants. He wore a leather wristband on his right wrist, and on his left was a red shackle. I'm one too, he said. The genin slowly backed away, the woman still hadn't turned. Then another man, one with fiery red hair, and claw-like nails appeared in a puff of smoke. He had a foxy grin on his face that looked freakishly familiar, but Konohamaru couldn't place it. And I'm the third. So, the woman said, you have to ask yourself, are you feeling lucky? The woman turned and suddenly all of her thoughts ground to a halt. Hanabi too, stopped. Hanabi, is that you? Hinata Nisan. Hanabi asked. Are you kidding me? Naruto asked. The first genin team who actually has a hope of surviving us, happens to be the very one we have to let go. That's luck. Konohamaru's mind suddenly jogged. Boss. Likewise, Naruto's memory jumped. Konohamaru. Moeji's and Udon's jaws dropped. Everyone stared at each other. Team 22, with the exception of Hanabi, was wondering what on earth was going on and who on earth these people were. While Konohamaru, Mogi, Udon, and Hanabi had a sudden rush of memories. Kyuubi stood there and finally said, wow, this is awkward. Silence. Finally, at an attempt at conversation, Hinata spoke, so, how's Neji? He's changed for the better, he's straighted training some of the kids who never seemed to get the Juken. That's nice. So, do you guys want to come inside? Naruto asked, pointing to the door of their makeshift home. Sure, Konohamaru said. Naruto sat impressed at the two teams that had found them. Apparently, his never back down, fight till you can't fight anymore, hot-headedness had rubbed off on the Hokage's grandson. Fight the fears of the forest. Even though the possibility of doing so was almost non-existent. That's only something he would do. Konohamaru also had turned into Konoha's second biggest prankster in history. Hanabi had become a less shy version of Hinata. Udon had become a less lazy Shikamaru. While Mogi had become a less violent Sakura. Now all they needed was a less arrogant Sasuke. Man, it's like an improved version of our generation. Well, they learned from the best, didn't they, honey? Hinata asked, her fiancé. If you mean us, then yes, they did. Naruto gave her a gentle kiss on the lips. Silence. The younger teens found this kind of awkward, and Konohamaru finally asked a question that had been bothering him for a while. So, will you guys give us the scrolls? Hinata looked at Naruto, Naruto looked at Kyuubi, Kyuubi looked at Hinata. In unison they all said the same word, no. What? Why? Kyuubi spoke up, because, no one in real life would just hand the objective over, you have to get it yourself. Can't you have a little mercy? Mogi asked, please, boss. Naruto hesitated, they couldn't hand the scrolls over, that's out of the question, but if they had some help in another regard. We'll help you. The genin cheered. But you have to get the scroll yourself. The cheering SD. How will you be helping us then? We'll make sure you get to the tower in one piece. We'll leave after lunch. Right now I want some ramen. And with that Naruto turned to the stove and began a small ramen meal. After Naruto had amazed the genin teams with his seemingly endless stomach, the three fears packed many of their belongings, no point in trying to hide now. Naruto had said. As soon as everything was packed the little party began its mission. It didn't take long before the first scroll was captured. Hanabi used her Byakugan to see what scroll they had and then she set a trap for them, much inspired by Team 8's trap that had happened 4 years ago. Team Konamaru had little difficulty as well. Udon's strategy was beyond sufficient in taking down the next genin team, and perhaps it was the very presence of the fox blade that gave them enough luck to pick an earth scroll out of one of their weapons pouch. Naruto smiled as the small party began to head to the tower. He was coming back to his friends, he was coming back to civilization, he was coming back to indoor plumbing, and most importantly he was coming back to the world's best ramen, and the village he had sworn to protect. Then the one thing that could dampen his mood came up: someone was following them. No doubt Hinata and Kyuubi felt it, but they remained completely calm and looked completely oblivious. Naruto opened his mental link with his tenant. Let them attack first. Understood. Hinata had silently activated her Byakugan and was watching the genin as they approached. Naruto's face slowly grew into a smile. This was going to be fun. He touched the hilt of his sword. Crack. One of the unlucky genin that had been sneaking up on the company had stepped on a certain branch. This branch had been the home of a colony of termites. In fact, this branch was near its breaking point. All it needed was the slightest push. The genin fell to the ground with a crash, when suddenly said termites, finding their home disturbed, began their attack on the closest living being. This being was the unlucky genin. Get them off of me. Naruto, Hinata, and Kyuubi all smiled. How? Unlucky? Naruto said, continuing on his way. Team 22 and 23 stared at the genin who was on the edge of lighting himself on fire to get the termites off, then noticed their bodyguards had just kept walking. They caught up to them, when they suddenly heard, Kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Suddenly, another sound reached their ears, the sound of a genin burning his own skin off. The barker. They heard Naruto mumble, he could have jumped into the pond. Kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Suddenly a huge fireball came roaring toward them. Hinata didn't even turn. Suten, Daibakufu no Jutsu. Suddenly, a giant whirlpool appeared out of the pond and engulfed the flames. Then the whirlpool kept going and a scream was heard in the distance. For reference sake, this is the jutsu Kakashi used against Zabuza at the end of their first battle. Hanabi gawked at the new power her sister had acquired. The jutsu she had just used was amazing. Finally, the third genin appeared right in front of the small group. You won't get past me, he cried. I had the first one. Naruto said. Well, it's not my turn, I had that girl who used the fire jutsu. Rather impressive she did that, actually. Hinata said, whispering the last part to herself. Guess it's my turn, Kyuubi sighed. Kyuubi walked in front of the group. His cur intent spiked. His red eyes had an animalistic look, his whisker marks became actual whiskers, his teeth grew longer, his ears became pointed and moved to the top of his head. He dropped onto his hands and feet, his flaming red hair grew over his whole body. Kyuubi was the fox once more. His giant figure towered above everyone, the genins cowered, leaving only Naruto and Hinata standing. The fox inhaled with his nose, it was like a whirlwind. You smell like fear. The boy turned to run, but only wound up running into a trap he had set for a battle. The trap was very effective. The boy would never move again. Kyuubi reverted back into his human form. Let's go, I want some ramen. When Team 22 and Team 23 entered the tower, they split up and said the goodbyes. Naruto along with Kyu and Hinata stayed with Konohamaru. And when they opened the scrolls they found a very shocked Iruka. Nana Naruto. Hey Iruka, it's been what, 4 years? What are you doing here? I came to say, we're back, and ready to rock. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.